What's up everyone, we're going to be going through the best WNBA player props on PrizePicks today. Now I did want to show you the results from yesterday's picks from my exclusive Discord group, and as you guys see, we actually got 20 picks correct, which was absolutely insane. So we're on a huge hot streak, but if you want to get 20 picks right like me, win more bets and receive the best picks from some of the best bettors in the world for less than a cup of coffee, you can access the exclusive Discord and meet some of the best sport bettors in the game by joining my Patreon, which will be linked down below in the description. Once you join, you'll have complete access to the Discord and can start winning more bets today. So make sure to join my Patreon using the link in the description. And here's one of our members who just signed up and won himself $4,250 just yesterday. Another member who actually won $925 for the 7th day in a row since joining my Discord. So guys, if you want to win big money like our members, the link will be in the description. So go join the Patreon to have access to the Discord group. And I will be continuing to upload every single day on this channel, the best bets and props. So make sure to subscribe so you don't miss my daily uploads. So quick shout out to TrueG247 who said this guy loves unders, and unfortunately I do. They do very well, and that's a big reason why we win so many picks, but shouts out to him. And if you do want to win a shout out in the next video, all you have to do is comment down below on this video and like it, and you can be in the running to win a shout out in the next one. Alright, so let's get straight into the first pick. And when it comes to these picks, I'm not saying to chuck all of them into a parlay and hope for the best. Pick and choose the ones that you like and the ones that work best for you. So the first pick we're going to be talking about is none other than Britney Sykes. So Britney Sykes, great player from none other than Washington Mystics. And this one is for 18.5 points, and this one actually is for less. Now looking at someone like Britney Sykes, we have definitely seen her do a fantastic job so far this season, but we do see that she has gone on the under in 2 out of the last 5 games. So it's definitely been a big game there. Now, obviously, we have seen June 9th faced off against Connecticut Sun, had 28 points there. We also saw after that, June 16th faced off against Atlanta, had 9 points. June 18th faced off against Chicago, had 32 points. Then 21 points against Atlanta on June 21st, and then 8 points against Dallas on June 23rd. So we have seen Britney Sykes actually go on the under in 2 out of the last 5. And looking at someone like Britney Sykes, yes, she is, a very good player, but she has definitely gone on the under on occasions, and her average over the last 5 is also 19.6. So it is slightly below this line, but slightly above this line. But looking at, the matchup, Washington do face off against Dallas Wings. Now, just for a quick warning, this is the only game for the WNBA, so a lot of today's picks will be from this matchup, so I just thought I'd make you know about that. But looking at both these teams, Washington Mystics have definitely done a pretty decent start to the season. They currently rank 8th in the WNBA with 8 wins and 8 losses. They have a 50% win percentage. They also are 5-3 at home, 3-5 from away games as well, and they are currently on a 3-game win streak, so they are hoping to push that to a 4. And like I mentioned, they face off against Dallas Wings, and Dallas Wings, looking at that matchup, it's definitely going to be an exciting one, but Dallas Wings do rank 12th in the WNBA with 4 wins and 13 losses. So they also have a 2-6 record, 2-7 from away, and 2-6 from home. And then also on top of that, they are currently on a 1-game losing streak. So, Dallas Wings, unfortunately, haven't had the greatest start to the season, even with, some of their big players like Paige being drafted to this team. Now, coming into this matchup, looking at Dallas Wings defensively, we do know that Dallas Wings do actually rank 10th when it comes to points allowed. So they rank, pretty low there. However, the reason why we do like the under for this situation here, so when it comes to Dallas Wings, they actually do a fantastic job at restricting points to Britney Sykes' position. So Sykes usually does play that guard position most of the time, and because of that, we do very much like the under for this situation here. We also have seen that when it comes to Washington and the way they like to play, especially against Dallas, we haven't really seen Britney Sykes have that high of a usage rate in those departments. We actually did see that in the most recent game. June 23rd was against Dallas, and we actually saw her only have 8 points in that matchup. So that was significantly on the under, and because of that, we are expecting a similar outcome like that coming into this next matchup. So for that reason, I definitely would keep an eye out for, the actual under for this situation there. Now, when you look at someone like Britney Sykes, what we also have seen is that when it comes to her actual, usage rate out there during that Dallas game, it definitely wasn't that high. And we are expecting a similar sort of outcome coming into this next one. So for that reason, I definitely would keep an eye out for the under for someone like Britney. So Britney Sykes, 18.5 points for less, I think is a great pick. Now, getting into the next one, we're actually going to be talking about none other than Kiki Irareren. Now, Kiki, great player as well from Washington Mystics. And like we mentioned, a lot of the picks are going to be from this game because there is only one game. This one's for Kiki Irareren, who actually had 12.5 points as a line. And we like this one for actually less. So there's another Washington one, but we do also have a Dallas one to finish off. So just keep you aware about that. But looking at this pick first, we have seen her go on the under in 4 out of the last 5 games. Looking at those 5 games, we saw on June 18th, faced off against Chicago, had 8 points there. Then June 21st, faced off against Atlanta, had 9 points. Then June 23rd, faced off against Dallas, had 19 points. June 25th, faced off against Minnesota, had 11 points. And then June 27th, faced off against the Las Vegas Aces and had 12 points there. So we have seen her go on the under in 4 out of the last 5 games. Now coming into this next matchup, it's definitely going to be an exciting one. Washington facing off against Dallas. And like we mentioned before, when we look at Dallas, we did see them rank, pretty low in the WNBA. They ranked 12th in the WNBA, while Washington Mystics also rank 8th. Now, Wings had a record of 4-13, while Mystics had a record of 8-8. The Mystics are ranked a little bit better. But coming into this game as well defensively, we do know Wings rank actually 10th in points allowed. However, the big reason why we do like the under for this situation here is that when it comes to Kiki's usage rate in the points department, it definitely hasn't been that high. And we are expecting a similar outcome coming into this next game. Now, Dallas actually do a pretty decent job at restricting points as well to the forward position, and we definitely see someone like Kiki struggling because of that. But another big reason for that is that Kiki just hasn't really had that high of a usage rate in these matchups as of lately, and because of that, we are expecting the under for it. Now, if you do see, she did have a game on June 23rd, faced off against Dallas, and that was a game she actually went on the over. Now, we find that to be a little bit of an outlier game. There were a couple of injuries that Washington did have that had Kiki have a little bit higher usage rate than usual, but coming into this next matchup, we are expecting, most of the main players, not everyone is going to be playing. Some players are actually kind of game time decision, but the ones that do affect Kiki's usage rate, we are expecting her usage rate to decrease as some of the main players in, Kiki's kind of position or kind of that affects her actual usage rate is going to be playing in this game. So for that reason, we are definitely liking the under for this situation here. Now, when we also look closer, when we look at what the bookies are saying, bookies also have her favored for the under as well. So that works out in our favor there. So Kiki Irareren for 12.5 points for less, I think is a great pick. Now, getting into the next pick, we're going to be talking about none other than Paige Bueckers. So Paige, great player as we all know, and this one is for 5.5 assists, and this one actually is for less. Now, looking at Paige, we've actually seen her go on the under in 2 out of the last 5 games. Now, looking on June 18th, faced off against Golden State Valkyries and had 2 assists there. Then June 21, faced off against Connecticut Sun, also had an interesting situation where she had 7 assists in that matchup. Then had 7 assists against Washington Mystics on June 23rd. June 25th, faced off against Atlanta, had 4 assists, and against Indiana had 6 assists on June 28th. So we have actually seen Paige Bueckers go on the under in 2 out of the last 5, and our average out of the last 5, however, is 5.2, so below this line. Now, coming into this matchup, as we all know, Dallas haven't really had the greatest start to their season. They obviously ranked 12th, and then Washington Mystics also rank 8th. Now, obviously, Mystics are on a 3-game win streak so far, so they are looking to push it to a 4th. And then Dallas on the other side are currently on a 1-game losing streak, and they are hoping to turn things around and be able to be on the winning side. So when it comes to this matchup, and when we look at Washington Mystics, we do actually see that Washington Mystics do rank 3rd when it comes to assists allowed. So they actually rank tied 3rd with Atlanta Dream, but we do very much like the under for this situation here because of that reason. Now, obviously, they did play each other on June 23rd, and we actually did see Paige be able to go on the over, but as I always mentioned, when it comes to games like this, there are going to be times where, players are going to beat their lines when they're not really supposed to, or when the math doesn't add up. And those games definitely happen. But now that there is going to be a second one, we are expecting the more likelihood kind of outcome to happen, and that's why we do very much like the under for this situation here. So when you look at what the bookies are saying as well, bookies also have our favored for the under as well, so that works out in our favor there. But when we look at all sides, it's definitely more evident that Paige Bueckers is most likely going to go on the under, and a go on the under is. So for that reason, Paige Bueckers 5.5 assists for less, I think is a fantastic pick. So as you all know, I do want to get these picks out to you as soon as possible, but PrizePicks is delayed with some of their lines. So here are a couple of players you should definitely watch out for when their lines drop. So the first player we're going to be talking about is none other than Yueru. Now, Lee doesn't actually have a photo, unfortunately, but Lee has been doing a fantastic job for this Dallas Wings team, and we've actually seen her do a great job averaging 4.2 points, 3.3 rebounds, and 0.9 assists. So she's definitely done a fantastic job there. Now, on top of that, also 0.2 steals, just to mention, but looking at the Dallas Wings, they do have themselves a very, very good matchup, as we all know, against the Washington Mystics. Now, as I mentioned, this is actually the only game for today, so all the picks are going to be from this game. But looking at, Dallas Wings and their matchup, Washington Mystics, just to remind you all again, we have seen that Dallas Wings have had a pretty tough season because they came in at the 12th spot with 4 wins, 13 losses, a 23.5% win percentage, and are 2-6 from home and 2-7 from away. So they do have the number 12 spot. On top of that, we also see them face off against Washington Mystics, as we mentioned. Now, Mystics are a little bit better, but not that much better because they still come in at the 8th spot in the WNBA. They have 8 wins, 8 losses, a 50% win percentage, and also have a 5-3 home record, 3-5 away record, and are currently on a 3-game win streak. So Lee has, done a decent job for Dallas Wings, but Dallas Wings as a whole haven't really been the best. Now, when it comes to this matchup, we do know that the matchup Mystics do rank defensively 8th in points allowed. They also rank 3rd in assists allowed. And then when it comes to rebounds allowed, we also see, Washington Mystics rank 1st. So we have actually seen, someone like Lee do very well at times. But coming into this game, we do actually like the over for this situation here, but strictly just for points. Now, like we mentioned just earlier, Mystics do a great job at rebounds and assists, and that's why we are staying away from that. And that's why we are focusing a little bit more on other categories like points to see someone like Lee go on the over in this one. Now, a big reason being for this is that when it actually comes to Lee, we have seen her score very, very well over the last couple of games. She's definitely had the hot hand, and she's starting to get a little bit more used to the actual rhythm of the WNBA. Obviously, this is her 2nd season, but we have seen early on she didn't do so well. Now, in the more later games, we have seen her finally get into rhythm and actually seen an increase in her usage rate. And for that reason, we definitely like the over for this situation here. Now, another big reason why we do like the over for this situation is that some of Dallas Wings players are going to be out for this game. And this isn't just bench players. These are some of the big players. Maddie Siegrist is actually going to be out for this game as of making this video. So she is expected to be out. Also, on top of that, Dejanay Carrington is also expected to be out for this game. So that's also another big one there. Now, because of those two missing from this matchup, we definitely see that affecting their usage rate in a positive way, because we actually do see Lee being able to take on that extra burden in the points department, as she may be able to provide a lot more. Now, when you look at obviously Dallas Wings, obviously you still have Paige, you still have Arike who's going to be playing, but Dejanay and Maddie are the next top 2 scorers after Paige and Arike. And after that, then is actually Lee. So Lee's probably going to be the next one up, and that's why we are expecting her to have a little bit more an increase in her usage rate in the points department. And we definitely have seen her do that over the last 5 games at times as well. When she has faced off against teams, we actually have seen her go on the over, especially when she does or has, other injured teammates in that Dallas Wings, and she's able to really increase. So we've seen last 5 games on the 18th, faced off against Golden State Valkyries, had an 80-71 victory. She actually had 2 points, 2 rebounds, and 2 assists there. Then faced off against Connecticut Sun on the 21st, had an 86-83 victory, had 11 points, 9 rebounds, and 3 assists. After that, faced off against Washington Mystics on the 23rd, had a 91-88 loss, had 6 points, 3 rebounds, and 0 assists there. After that, they went on the 25th to Atlanta, had a 68-55 victory. victory, had 10 points, 15 rebounds, and 1 assist there. After that, on the 28th, faced off against Indiana, had a 94-86 loss, had 7 points, 3 rebounds, and 1 assist. So we have actually seen, Lee go on the over on multiple occasions over the last 5, and we mean by on the over compared to his points average of 4.2. So we definitely have seen him do a great job there. The only game where he did go on the under was against Golden State Valkyries, but in that matchup, we also saw him only have 13 minutes in that game. So, coming into this one, due to the injuries, we are expecting a lot of minutes from Lee, and that's why we do like the over for this situation here. So for that reason, keep an eye out for the over for this situation for Lee, but strictly just for points. Now getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about Aaliyah Edwards. Now Aaliyah, great player for the Washington Mystics. As we all know, she's been averaging 5.1 points, 3.3 rebounds, 0.7 assists, and 0.8 steals. Now, when we look at someone like Aaliyah, she is a fantastic player for Washington Mystics. Now, obviously, just to remind you all, I know we just recently talked about it, but Mystics do come in at the 8th spot in the WNBA, 8 wins, 8 losses, and they face off against none other than the actual Dallas Wings, who also have a record of 4-13 and also ranked 12th. Now, looking at Washington Mystics as well, obviously they face off against Dallas Wings, and Dallas Wings defensively actually rank 10th when it comes to points allowed, 13th when it comes to assists allowed, and then when it comes to rebounds allowed, they do actually rank 6th. So we have actually seen Dallas Wings do a really poor job at points and assists, and for that reason, we do actually like the over for someone like Aaliyah Edwards. However, strictly, just for points and assists here. Now, when it comes to Aaliyah, obviously she doesn't have the highest usage rate in, all these 3 departments compared to other Washington Mystics players, but it's definitely still going to be a great matchup there. Now, when we look at someone like Aaliyah Edwards, we definitely are liking the over for this situation here, but I do also have to mention her assist usage rate is a little bit low, so we are more likely to see a line come out for points just for Aaliyah Edwards. But I definitely do believe if there is a line out for assists, there's definitely still a possibility there, but I think points is definitely where you might see a line for someone like Aaliyah. Now, looking at her last 5 games, we see on the 18th, faced off against Chicago, had a 79-72 victory. Now, she actually had 6 points, 2 rebounds, and 1 assist there. Then faced off against Atlanta on the 21st, had a 92-91 loss, had 3 points, 0 rebounds, and 0 assists. Then on the 23rd, faced off against Dallas, had a 91-88 overtime game. She had 0 points, 1 rebound, and 1 assist. Then faced off against Minnesota with a 68-64 victory, had 7 points, 5 rebounds, and 0 assists. Then faced off against Las Vegas Aces with a 94-83 victory, had 7 points, 3 rebounds, and 1 assist there. So we have actually seen Aaliyah Edwards go on the over, at times. Other games have gone on the under, but like I always mentioned, it is definitely based off a per position basis and also a per matchup basis. Obviously, against easier teams, we have seen Aaliyah Edwards do a very good job, and against tougher teams, she definitely does struggle. So coming into this one, the fact that Dallas Wings are also a very poor defensive team, we definitely are expecting someone like Aaliyah to be able to go over in this situation there. So I definitely would keep an eye out for Aaliyah, but like I mentioned, keep an eye out for the points line. I definitely see a lot more value in there, and also the assists compared to rebounds coming into this game. So keep an eye out for Aaliyah Edwards' line. If the line is under averages, then definitely look to go on the over. Now, getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about Kayla Charles. So, as you all know, Kayla Charles is a great player from the Dallas Wings. Now, obviously, like I mentioned, there is only one game. Dallas Wings faced off against Washington Mystics. And looking at Kayla, we have seen her average 5.5 points, 4 rebounds, and also 1 assist. So we have seen her do a fantastic job there. Now coming into this game, we do know Dallas Wings, like we mentioned before, do rank pretty poor. They rank 12th in the WNBA, while the Mystics rank actually 8th. Now Mystics are currently on a 3-game win streak, so they definitely have a little bit of a hot streak going on there. And then Dallas Wings on the other end are currently on a 1-game losing streak, so they are hoping to change things around. But, Dallas Wings have definitely lost a lot of games in a row, and they definitely have been a bit of a struggling situation. So when it comes to that, we are expecting Dallas Wings to try everything and see what they can do. But coming into this game, we do know that Dallas Swings faced off against Mystics, and Mystics defensively do rank 8th when it comes to points allowed. They rank 3rd when it comes to assists allowed, and 1st when it comes to rebounds allowed. Now, when it comes to Kayla Charles, we do actually like the under for this situation here, but strictly just for rebounds and assists. Now, obviously, Kayla Charles is a great player, and like we mentioned with the other pick of actually Lee, we do know that, Dallas Wings are going to be missing a couple of players. We obviously do know that Dejanay is not going to be playing in this game. Maddie's also not going to be playing in this game. And someone like Kayla Charles is a great player. However, coming into this game, we do actually like the under still, because we have seen when these players have been injured, Kayla Charles' usage rate hasn't really changed that much. Yes, she does have, great games sometimes and other games not so well, but I do believe, and what we see is that when it comes to actually injuries, we don't actually see Kayla Charles' usage rate adjust to those injuries. We actually see other players like Paige, like Lee, like we mentioned, Arike, Nalissa, these sort of players actually adjust their usage rate dependent on the injuries. And, I think Kayla, because of her role in this team being very much a role player, it's definitely going to affect her coming into this matchup. So we haven't really seen an increase in any of her usage rate, any of her minutes when it comes to certain injuries. She tends to have a hot hand sometimes. She tends to be a better matchup sometimes. And during those cases, yes, we could see her go on the over. But coming into this one, especially against a team like Mystics who do a great job defensively in both of those departments, we definitely like the under for rebounds and assists. But looking at the last 5 games, you see on the 18th, faced off against Golden State Valkyries, actually had an 80-71 victory. Now, she had 10 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists there. Then faced off against Connecticut Sun with an 86-83 victory, had 9 points, 1 rebound, and 1 assist. Then faced off against Washington with a 91-88 loss in overtime and had 9 points, 7 rebounds, and 1 assist. After that, faced off against Atlanta Dream, had a 68-55 win with 0 points, 8 rebounds, and 3 assists. Now, on top of that, on the 28th, they faced off against Indiana, had a 94-86 loss, had 2 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists. Now, when we look at that, also, we do see that Kayla Charles obviously has sometimes gone on the over, sometimes gone on the under, but coming into this next one, we are definitely liking the under for it. So keep an eye out for Kayla Charles' line. Like I mentioned, rebounds and assists is definitely where you want to focus on. But like I always mentioned, if the line is too close to our averages, then definitely look